Once upon a time, in a kingdom of unmatched wealth, there lived a powerful king named Midas. His palace gleamed under the sun, its walls adorned with gold, and its halls filled with treasure beyond imagination. Yet, despite his riches, Midas was never satisfied. Sitting on his golden throne, he sighed, gazing at his countless treasures.
Go, but not enough. There must be more.
His servants, afraid to speak against him, only bowed in silence. One morning, while walking through his beautiful rose garden, Midas found a strange sight. A man, old and weary, sleeping under a tree. His clothes were tattered, his face peaceful.
Who dares sleep in my garden?
Midas muttered. But as he looked closer, he recognized the man. Silenus, the companion of Dionysus, the god of wine and celebration. Instead of punishing him, Midas smiled. He knew that pleasing a god's friend could bring great rewards. He ordered his servants to bathe, feed, and clothe Silenus in fine robes. For days, Midas treated him as an honored guest, serving the best food and finest wines. Silenus laughed and sang, enjoying the king's hospitality. Soon, word of Midas's kindness reached Dionysus himself. Appearing in a flash of golden light, the god spoke.
King Midas, you have treated my dear friend well. As a reward, I shall grant you one wish, anything you desire.
Midas's eyes gleamed. Without hesitation, he declared.
I wish for everything I touch to turn into pure gold.
Dionysus frowned slightly, sensing the danger in this wish.
Are you certain? Gold cannot fill a hungry stomach or warm a cold heart.
But Midas only laughed.
Gold is all I need.
With a sigh, Dionysus waved his hand. A golden shimmer surrounded Midas.
Your wish is granted.
The next morning, Midas awoke feeling different. He reached for his pillow. It turned into solid gold. Excited, he touched the chair beside his bed. Gold. The curtains. Gold. Laughing with joy, he ran through his palace, turning everything in sight into shining treasure.
I am the richest man in the world.
He cried. But his hunger soon interrupted his celebration. He reached for a piece of bread. It turned to gold in his hands. He grabbed a goblet of wine. Liquid gold flowed over his fingers. Panic set in. He could not eat. He could not drink. Had he cursed himself? Still trying to enjoy his new power, Midas wandered to his garden.
At least my roses will shine brighter than any in the world.
He mused. He reached out and touched a red rose. Instantly, it turned stiff and golden. One by one, he turned every flower into gold. The servants, once in awe, now whispered among themselves, "Gold was beautiful, but could it replace the softness of a petal? The fragrance of a rose?" Midas ignored them. His greed blinded him. Later, Midas sat for a grand feast, prepared by his finest chefs. But, with every bite, the food turned to gold before it could reach his mouth.
What good is all this gold if I cannot even eat?
He groaned, his stomach empty and aching. As his hunger grew, so did his fear. Suddenly, his daughter, Princess Zoe, ran into the room.
Father, look, I made this for you.
She beamed, holding a crown of flowers. Midas's heart softened. He bent down and pulled her into an embrace. The moment his fingers touched her, a golden light flashed, and in an instant, his daughter was no more. A statue of pure gold stood in her place.
No, no, my child!
He cried, falling to his knees. His greatest treasure was gone. Not gold, not jewels, but his daughter's laughter, her smile, her warmth. At last, Midas understood the terrible truth. Gold had stolen everything. Tears streaming down his face, Midas fell before the altar of Dionysus.
Take it back. Please, take this curse away.
He begged. Dionysus appeared, his expression unreadable.
Do you now see, King Midas? True wealth is not measured in gold, but in love, in life, in what cannot be bought.
Midas nodded desperately.
I was a fool. Please, save my daughter.
Dionysus studied him for a long moment, then spoke.
You must prove your remorse. Go among your people, see what your greed has done. Only then will you understand the true cost of your wish.
Midas, desperate for redemption, agreed. Midas walked through the streets of his kingdom, now silent and grim. The people no longer cheered his name, but whispered in fear. He passed a marketplace, where merchants displayed golden fruits and golden bread, food that no one could eat. A mother sat on the steps of her home, cradling her crying child.
My son is hungry, but we have nothing. The wheat turned to gold in my hands. What shall we do?
Midas's heart ached. His people were starving, suffering because of his greed. For the first time, he saw the burden his gift had placed upon the kingdom. He fell to his knees, whispering,
What have I done?
As Midas continued his walk, he saw the full extent of his folly. The rivers had dried where gold dust had settled, choking the waters. Farmers stood helpless in their fields, where golden crops shimmered uselessly in the sun. Even the birds had stopped singing, their nests turned to lifeless metal. The once thriving kingdom was silent, trapped in golden stillness. Midas clenched his fists.
This is not wealth. This is a curse.
Dionysus, moved by Midas's grief, finally gave him one last chance.
Go to the river Pactolus. Wash your hands in its waters, and your curse shall be lifted.
Midas ran as fast as his feet could carry him. When he reached the river, he plunged his hands into the cool water. A golden glow flowed from his fingertips into the river, washing the curse away. The sands beneath the river sparkled with gold, a reminder of his greed. Midas raced back to the palace, heart pounding. He reached out and touched his daughter. The moment his fingers met hers, her golden skin softened, her cheeks flushed pink. She blinked. Alive?
Father?
She asked, confused. Midas pulled her into a tight embrace, his tears falling onto her hair.
My child, I almost lost you.
From that day on, King Midas ruled with wisdom, not greed. He gathered his people, humbly apologizing for his mistakes. He used his remaining wealth to build granaries, ensuring no one in his kingdom went hungry. The golden sands of the Pactolus River remained, a lesson carved into nature itself, a reminder that true riches lie not in gold, but in the love we share. And so, Midas learned the greatest truth of all. Gold can be counted, but love is beyond measure. The end. So, the moral of the story from the tale of King Midas is this. True wealth is not found in gold, jewels, or any worldly possessions, but in love, compassion, and the joy shared with those we care about. Midas learned the hard way that greed only leads to sorrow and loss, while wisdom and gratitude bring true happiness. And so, his story reminds us all. Gold can be counted, but love is beyond measure.